Lotshani Noke, this is Ulungile Wamsipha, also known as Lungstam Sipha, Umdazana, Ofika Bangi Chatangis Kabo, and today we are back with another video. It's a day to be great, and I chose just that. And from this angle, you can see the size of my forehead. Yeah, I really have that. And you can see the scar on my face, and you can see my teeth that likes to pop out, which I absolutely love. I love this angle because it shows the real me. This is me in every form and shape. This is me. Look. Okay, but it's not about that. This video is about, so I decided to title this video how I really felt when I turned 20. Now, if you don't know, I turned 20 years old on the 21st of May, which is about a month ago. And it was very tough. Hence, I decided to make this video. So, for those of you who have turned 20 already and going forward, like 2021 and 2022, anyway, around those ages, you know how difficult it might be to bury your teenage years, because I've had a deep connection with my teenage years. I've done quite a lot of things and I made a name for myself in my teenage years. And I feel like I was a great person, but I was young as well. So it was a bit commanding. And so now I had to bury all of that and step into a new chapter, which is a new season with different episodes. Now, obviously, moving from 19 to 20 is difficult, but what is more difficult is to move from being a teenager to being a young adult. So I had to do all of that in the past month and transition. And I had to prepare myself mentally. I'm one of those people who take things spiritually and mentally and emotionally. I know other people just say, I'm turning 20 and that's it. You know, we really differ as people. So I'm one of those who really, really looks at the years that put me here. And I'm like, ooh, I've been through that and I've been through this and I've been through that. So yes, hence I really thought it would be meaningful for me to do this video. Now, for those of you who don't know me well, I'm a pageant queen. I do pageants mainly. I do acting. I do media, I would say. But not to say I'm big or anything. I just started in the industry, especially of acting and modeling. Now I'm doing different forms of modeling, or rather, I'm looking into doing different forms of modeling. So for years, I've been doing pageant modeling. Now I want to venture into what would be commercial modeling, as well as, okay, I don't qualify for fashion. I've tried to apply, but apparently I'm too short for it. So it would be commercial and proper acting, you know. So yes, I'm starting off in the industry now. Throughout the years of being a teenager, I have done a lot of things. Obviously with the help of my mother. Now when I say I've done a lot of things, I've done things that I would say sort of built me as a person and helped me look at life differently. Yes. So now, and I've also gone through a lot of things, you know, that would have really, really put me down, which I have, in a way, overcome. Hence, I'm here today. Now, okay, let me see where I can start with this. So, okay, I'm going to use the pageant thing. Now, in pageants, especially if you start pageants at a young age, you will see that you will mature quite quickly, and now people will look up to you. And remember, you are a child who is growing, but you have people looking up to you. Now, when I started pageants in my community, people started respecting me and people started at the same time supporting me in this thing. And when I started, I would say that I was one of the, like, how would I put it? There were people who were doing pageants, but I was the only teenager. Imagine, in such a big community of people, I was the only teenager who was doing pageants at that time. So people were like, oh, she's doing something different and let us support her. Let us, you know, people used to ask me questions. Wow, so you love this, and what does it have? Like, what does it do? And because of how great the outcome was, other people started following as well. People who were older were now starting to do modeling. And some would even say they look up to me, which was very shocking because I was thinking, oh, but I'm younger than you. But I realized that it's not even about that. So now even people who were my age, people who were younger, were now starting to to adapt to this modeling thing through myself, right? Through me. So I knew that, wow, okay. I didn't think about it a lot, but I knew that it wasn't easy. But man, even today, I still cry about the love that I received from the community and everything that I received from the community. Financing, people would finance me for my pageants, people would post me on their statuses, people would comment on my posts, people would like my Facebook page. And hence I have a large community on Facebook, because people would wonder why on Facebook, because models are usually on Instagram. But I prefer Facebook even today, because that's where my journey started, that's where people supported me, and that's where I did everything. So now that's where I grew in the industry of pageants and of connecting to communities. And I also learned in the process that it's not just about getting all the love from people and receiving. It's also about giving back to the community. And I remember I collaborated with Sipesile Gianni. I asked her to be my mentor because I didn't have one at that time, and she was my mentor. Sipesile Gianni is also one lady who did modeling in our community. Yes, so she helped me. So, but as this teenager, as this 14-year-old, I was the only one, basically. So I really loved the journey. So now, because I've acquired a lot, I was at, let me count the pageants. I don't know if I can get all of them, but let me count. I started at Face of Devotion, South Africa. This was around 2018. That's when I started. Through Vicky's casting agency. Now I have to mention these people because they're big and they helped me grow in the industry, grow in this modeling thing, and put me in the industry like that, basically. So I started in Vicky's casting agency, which I didn't really know that I was going to do modeling. I thought I was just gonna be doing like acting and things like that, until there was a poster about Face of Devotion, Zanti. And my mom was like, how about we try this? Now, mind you, we are from Mpumalanga, and this post it does mention that it's in Gauteng, in Johannesburg. Now, my mom was like, no, let's go for it. It's okay. And we signed up for it. I wasn't really sure what pageants are. I mean, I would see, what I knew was umisi. Like I would see my mom's cousins, they would do our meets but never compete. So I was not really, I don't want to lie, I didn't even know about Miss South Africa. I did not know about it completely. I was just, and we did not used to watch TV a lot. I really didn't know about these things until I got in the industry myself. So we got into the industry and we flowed, man. We really flowed through it. So I started there and I went to Face of Takane, and I went to then there was COVID, right? For some time I stopped, but I never lost hope. In fact, at that time, that's when I connected to pageants anymore, because I would watch videos online and I would look at these girls doing their walks and all of that. So I connected with it now at a deeper level. So after COVID, I entered Miss Teen South Africa. Now this is a different pageant. I wouldn't say it's a journey pageant, or a pageant that is about empowerment, or as pageants would normally be. It's about, I don't know how to describe it. We never really met with the ladies. We just competed on stage, basically. So that was Miss Teen South Africa. But after that, I signed up for Miss Teenager South Africa. This was in 2021, at the end of the year, signing up for 2022. So while I was in matric in 2022, I was busy with pageants all throughout. Still getting the love, by the way, still getting the support from my classmates, my friends, my family, my community. Now, even people from outside my community who would follow my page. And this was absolutely phenomenal. So I went to Miss Teenager South Africa, ended in the top 10, which I'm so grateful for. At the time, I really thought, but why didn't I make it? Why was I not in the top 5? I would cringe so badly, because I would then start thinking about the things that I did wrong for me not to be in the top 5. I cringe so badly when in fact, to an extent that I started avoiding thinking about it. I'd be like, no, I'm not going to think about this, because once I do, it's going to really complicate my brain, and I'm going to start cringing about it and feel like I should have done better. I should have done that. But I really think that it was about time. It was about position. I really think that it was for the person who it was meant for, and the people who were supposed to be in the top 5 were in the top 5. Excuse me, guys, I talk so fast. Okay, let me calm down. Let me calm down. My mom would usually say, hey, kulma fast. Okay. All right. I just want to get to the bottom of this video. Now, So after that, I signed up for Miss. Wait, let me think. Oh, I signed up for Miss Fame FET, which never happened. And if you're a model who has once been in Miss Fame, you know the story, right? You know that it was a great pageant from the beginning. The winner was going to win a Kia Picanto, a car, basically. And I signed up for this was after my matric year, which was last year in 2023. But the pageant never happened. A lot of things happened. Even today, I'm still confused about the pageant. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, we've been through a lot of stuff, eh? And then I signed up, okay, throughout the process of Miss Fame, I was also a finalist for Miss Teenage Mpumalanga, which I then became queen for. So that was also great. Oh, by the way, in my community, I also was queen in 2019. We're not mentioned that now. Let's focus on that, like taking it from there. So when I went to Miss Teenage Mpumalanga, I was very numb, right? When I competed on stage, I was very numb by what happened at Miss Fame, by a lot of things, honestly. And, but because God had planned for it to happen, it happened. Now, turning 20, I'm like, oh, I look back and I'm like, wow, I've been through a lot as a teenager. And it's also something that happened before I was a teenager that I keep on thinking about it. I keep on thinking about this thing because it was so big. And I think that it defined my teenage years, right? But I think for that, I'm going to make a separate video one day. Now, talking about this, I was like, oh, it's bittersweet because I don't know whether to be happy or sad. It was, oh my goodness. On the other side, I was thinking of the love I received from people, how people received me as a teenager. I mean, I was so young, but all the people would respect me and speak to me with so much respect and so much, decency. And I would be like, I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl. Some would refer their children to me and be like, speak to Lungile, because she knows these things. Or some would reference me like, Lungile, you should be like Ulungile, or stuff like that. Even at church, it's this aura that I've created, and it's big, and I love my cook. Sometimes when people see me, they are like, "Nangulungsta, hello." Some will be like, "We know you from the newspaper. We know you from Facebook." Oh, others would be like, "Oh, I love Vanessa Mshad on Facebook." So I receive love from people in a very big, overwhelming way that I would never even be appreciative enough for, because no matter how much I try to appreciate, I don't know how to express my appreciation in a manner that will make people understand how much I appreciate their support. Now, because of that, obviously I had to mature at a very young age. Also because of religion, I'm a Christian, I follow Christ. So there's a way I had to carry myself as a teenager. There's a way that I had to speak to people. So now it's basically that: Christianity, passions, modeling, and those things combined created this person that I am. This person who obviously then appears to be Ulungsta Msipa in the community, right? Ooh. Now, as I was growing, a lot of people started also doing pageants, and it was a lot. Now a lot of people are doing pageants in my community, and even outside my community, like throughout the country, you find young girls tackling the pageant space, and there's a lot of people who do pageants now. So now I had to grow up so quickly and face myself as a woman, as a teenager. In fact, I became a woman while I was a teenager, So, and I was raised and am raised by a single mother, and I'm an only child to my mother. So that's also another thing. Now, turning 20, I felt like, I felt overwhelmed, I wouldn't say I felt like I missed out on my childhood, because no matter how matured I was or whatever it could be, I still was a child. I was so happy with my friends. I was so happy at school. Excuse that. I was so happy around people I was comfortable with, and I had a lot of friends who I loved, and I still have friends. Some friendships I grew apart from, some I grew into. So I have a lot of people who I was happy with. And if you know me and you were in my class from high school especially, I was this loud girl who was always making jokes, and And people say it's jokes, but to me, I'm like, but I just said that, People would laugh at the things that I say. I was very crazy, I admit. I was happy, I was a child, and I was full of life. So I did not miss out on my childhood. It just felt like maybe I was a woman too soon. Let me try to put this in a manner that is understandable to the audience who is obviously going to be watching this. Now, I felt that, okay, I would say in the industry of modeling, of pageants, I got successful at a young age, right? Now I'm here. Now I'm 20. As a 20-year-old, I've already made a name for myself. And I have been successful in the journey. So I would label myself as a girl who was or is successful at a young age. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about being rich. I'm still getting there. I'm just talking about this journey of my career, of pageants, and I'm a big fan of philanthropy. I give back to the community. I have my own things that I run that will give back to kids and give donations and all of that. Now I'm like, Now before May, April, like towards the end of April, I started thinking about my life and I was like, no, man, what have I been doing? I felt like throughout my whole life, I was competing with a lot of people to, like, I don't know, I just felt like I was always competing because when you start pageants at a young age, you are going to compete, my darling. You are going to compete from this to that. You're always going to feel like you have to push towards something. And I felt like, I've been pushing to something and through something all the time. I felt like I was a woman too soon. I felt like, at some point, I was tired of everything. I was tired of pageants. I even told my mom that, I think I'm going to leave pageants. I really, really think that I'm going to leave pageants. And by the way, I'm not a pageant girl. Like, I'm not a woman or a girl who is fascinated by pageants. Like, oh, pageants, this week I'm at a pageant. Next week I'm competing. Next week I'm competing. Next month I'm competing. No, I follow pageants because I love pageants and I do pageants that resonate with who I am, so I can represent the brands properly. I don't just do pageants without understanding what does this pageant stand for. No, I just do pageants one at a time, two at a time, but I do pageants that I resonate with. So I told my mom, I was like, no, I think I'm done with pageants. I don't think I'm gonna continue with pageants because I didn't tell her the reason behind it. I just said, honestly, at this particular moment, I'm tired. I'm tired of pageants. I'm tired of just having to compete all the time. I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of having to show myself to the world. I'm tired of, in fact, I was even tired of people, the love that I receive from people. I really thought, let it slow down now. It's okay. I thought, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot of things that are coming towards me and I just need to relax. I just need to be at a place where I'm just normal. I'm a normal human being. And hence, when I went to varsity, living in a different province, in a different place, nobody knew who I was. And that's why I never disclosed that I'm Miss Teenage Mpumalanga. I never said to anyone that I'm Miss Teenage Mpumalanga until they said, let us follow you on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle? And then they saw that I was actually Miss Teenage Mpumalanga. Because I just wanted to be normal. I wanted to know how it feels to be a normal human being, to just walk around the space with not getting any hi or hello, or without having to prove myself or continue with the posture that I usually have, or being Lungsta, my brand, the woman that I've become, and just walk around the space where nobody knows me. And I just said, I'm tired now. I'm 20 and I'm tired of pageants. And I don't want to lie, I have to mention this because this is the core of the video. I was tired of Christianity. And I don't know, that's very strange when I come to think of it now. I was tired of praying, I was tired of constantly seeking answers from God, or constantly believing God for this and believing God for that. Some prayers wouldn't be answered, some would be answered. the biggest of prayers would not be answered, and I would be so frustrated. It would be, why is this not coming to fruition? I've been praying about this, I've been laying a seed about it, I've been speaking to you, God, about this, but you still have not answered this prayer or these prayers. Why are you not answering? I was tired of talking to God. I was tired of him hearing my voice. I was tired of voicing myself out to him. I was tired of reaching out to him. I was tired of God. Like, I was like, whew, I've served you my whole life, because I grew up in church. I was like, I've served you my whole life. I've prayed, and at this point, I feel like it's stagnant. I feel like it's not moving. I feel like it's not going anywhere. I go to church, and it's the same service, and it's the same people, and it's the same environment. I just need something new. Or rather, I just need nothing. I just want to break away from this whole thing of the idea of God and the idea of going to church and the idea of just, I was so tired. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I was tired of even myself. I was tired of my original life. I would say that I was literally tired of life itself. I was tired of not falling in love. I was tired of men approaching me at the same time. I was tired of everything. I was tired of waking up. I was tired of sleeping. I was tired of a book. Like, I was tired of this. Okay, shame this didn't do anything, yes? But I was tired of everything you could ever think of. So I just thought to myself, 20. I really wondered, how do people survive after having lived 20 years? Because I'm 20 and exhausted. I'm not even sure what I want. My past life was good, it was great. But was it not too much for a teenager? At the same time, I'm like, no, it was actually lovely. I was so confused by the way I grew up, by my background, by my future. And obviously, I have to shape my future, because I'm turning 20. I have to know what happens next. It's not always that we have to know what happens next or anything, but I just have to know the direction that I'm taking. And, practically, I would say I already have taken it by being here in varsity, pursuing this degree. But at the same time, I'm like, no, what do I love? What do I want? And I don't want to lie. I did even say, okay, no. I don't think I want to live anymore, because I felt like I was at the peak of success. I felt like, okay, now I've already made a name for myself. I've lived. I know God. I know the prayers he's answered, and I'm great with them. I know how it feels to have a relationship with God. I know how it feels when God talks to you and he shows you visions and things that would happen. I know how it feels also when God doesn't answer prayers. I know how it feels when God says no. I know how it feels to be sidelined. I know how it feels to be bullied. I know how it feels to literally everything. I'm like, okay, so what else could be left? What else could I do? Where could I go? Like, I really think I'm at the peak of life at this very moment. And I don't feel like pursuing any further, because I'm done. Like, I'm okay. I don't need to know anything more. I don't need to grow, because I've grown. I've grown more than I ever could have imagined. So now, 20. What is 20 for me? In the next coming years, am I going to be a mother? Am I going to be... That's even strange. That's so crazy. Guys, I can't imagine myself a mother, but I know that one day I will, when God says yes. But am I going to be married? Am I still going to be living the same life? Am I going to be rich? Like, I was thinking about these things, and I was like, no, I don't know how to shape my future. And I'm not going to lie, the last few minutes of being a teenager now, when it was 10 minutes to 12 of my birthday, I went outside at race. I went outside and I looked up, looked at the moon, and I stirred, and I was like, I just looked at the moon. I was not seeking any answer. I was just having a connection with nature. And I stood there and I was like, wow, I'm about to leave my teenage years, and I'm so stressed about it. But I was like, at this moment, I don't want to be stressed about it. 5 minutes to 12 of my birthday, when I turned 20, I was like, it's really happening. Now tears were starting to come out of my eyes. And when it was 1 minute to being 20 and 1 minute to no longer being a teenager, I took a video on my phone of the times changing from 11 o'clock, from 11, 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, midnight. And the time switched and the time changed. I was like, yeah, it's the 21st of May and I'm 20. Moving digits from 19 to 20, which means that it's a new season of different episodes, soon to 10, 21, 22, 23. And I just sat there and I didn't say anything to God. I just closed my eyes. Oh, I don't want to be emotional about it. There are trees, like there are a lot of trees where I live. I looked at the trees and I smelt the scent of these trees, and it always smells nice, and it's very nature like. So I was sitting there and I was like, it's my birthday. And I stayed outside for a while and I took a video of the pool. I remember I posted on Instagram on my story. And yes, I felt that I wouldn't say I felt that I was 20, but I did feel a shift somewhere in my body. I don't know if it was my heart. I don't know if it was my brain, my mind, my eyes. I don't know what it was, but I did feel a shift. And it was something else. So then I just stood there. I was like, So for my birthday, I planned just a mini picnic. I chose green, the color green. Other people were amazed because my favorite color is purple. So green, what is it for? So since I go to an acting school, we are taught these things. And so green stands for new beginnings. It stands for transition. It stands for a renewal, basically. A new chapter. So when I found out that, I was like, okay, for my birthday, I just defined what I wanted first for my birthday. I said new beginnings. Then I wanted the color that goes with that, and it was green. Hence, I had the whole green outfit, green balloons with golden wines. It was just a new dawn, a new beginning for myself that I had defined. And I just said purple can just stop for now. This is I just wanted to feel different. I've always done purple, but I was like, let me do something different. My mom was like, oh, Wena, green, you in green. Why not purple? That's very strange of you. I was like, girl, I'm changing. I'm changing. So I thought I was going to make this video right after my birthday, like the 22nd, the 23rd, but I just felt like I was not ready. For some time, I felt like this is a new beginning, and God spoke to me about it. He said 20 years of Lungile and a shift and new beginnings, as I said. So now, after my birthday, I felt it for some days, like for a few days, until I didn't anymore. I started shrinking. I felt like I was alone. I was shrinking. I did not know how I was feeling. I wasn't communicating with God because no matter how hard I tried to communicate, today I felt so confident about myself, and I'll go to the gym and I'll do this, and then tomorrow I'd feel insecure. I'd feel like crying. I'd feel sleepy. And then I take myself out of it. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm okay. I start reading something. And then inconsistency hits me. And then I'm back again. I'm crying. I don't know for what reason. Like, it was a lot of mixed emotions that were going on. And I was confused throughout. But I was not letting the fact that I'm confused take over. Like, I wouldn't say I defined it as confusion. I was like, I don't know what's going on. It was just that. I just went with the flow until I really went with the flow. Like, every day would just be a day for me. It would be normal. And right now it's a month after I turned 20. And there were opportunities that really struck me. I got new opportunities in different places. And I was like, yeah, God did say this is a new beginning. And it's 20 years of Lungile. And now, here's what I'm going to say. Because I felt so tired of God. I felt tired of his people, the people of God. Oh, your people of God that stress me, oh Lord. I was tired of everything that I had done before. I was tired of everything that I'm doing. I was tired of my life. I was tired of being Lungile. I was tired of being everything, you know. But now it makes sense to me, even though not fully yet, that it was the enemy, you know. And how could I be tired of pageants? The same thing that brought me to who I am today, the same thing that lifted me up, the same thing that made me the person that I am, the same thing that brought love to me from people, the same thing that raised me up, the same thing that shaped my perspective of life differently. I was tired of it. How? Because this is a time to blossom. I'm actually at an age where I can decide on my own. I'm at an age where I will see the fruits of it. I would see it paying off. But no, I was deciding to quit. That's very strange. That's not coincidental. That it is indeed the enemy. And I was like, no. Now I tried to make sense of the situation. I'm like, okay, how could I be tired of God? How could I be tired of everything that I love? And how could I be tired of living? It didn't make sense to me. But I also thought maybe it comes with age, 20. But other people's lives begin at 20. Other people start doing passions at 20. Other people start pursuing a business at 20. Other people start knowing what they actually stand for at 20. Other people start doing something with their lives at 20. And here was I, because I was successful from a young age, at 20 wanting to quit and just drop life where I was supposed to be actually beginning and using what I have from the years, everything that I've gained, and starting with something new. But no, I wanted to quit. So I knew that sorry, I just had a sound. I hope it's not a okay. Oh, by the way, guys, I was so confused. And like but why out of amarum wong alares room. I was so terrified. Anyways, sorry for that. So I was like, oh, now it made sense to me that the enemy did that, because this is the time. Because even throughout everything I was going through, God spoke to me and he said, this is a new chapter. This is the time where you're going to get on your ground, as you're going to grind. I'm going to let you grind and work hard. But there's a bigger destiny waiting for you somewhere. And you are going places. You are going to be a big person. And now it seemed, when I received my messages, even from people on my birthday, it seemed like people believed in me more than I even believed in myself. I was like, people would say, happy birthday, Lungile. You are a great woman. We believe that God has a lot for you. Keep on going. You are going somewhere. And I was like, I do not even believe that for myself. But the enemy turned me into my worst enemy, basically. And I was like, wow, the enemy can be very dangerous. Now in the time where I'm supposed to be using everything that I have, now in the time where I'm supposed to be grinding, and this is the biggest time of my life, this 20th season, going into 21, 22, is the biggest chapter of my life. And it's where I actually get to make sense as a woman in society, in South Africa, in the world. And I was about to turn away from that because the enemy knew that I'm definitely stepping into a bigger step. I'm stepping into something that will define me as Ulungile Wakwamsipa, as Ulungstamsipa, and as this woman that I'm supposed to be. And he knew that if I embraced that, and if I took that and put it in my head and stuck by it, I would have literally overcome him, or rather I would have been very strong. But he used that to weaken me and to put me down and to make me have low self-esteem and all of these insecurities and confusion about life, while God already spoke to me already. So it was not making sense. And I'm like, God, I thank you for the revelation. And instead, I'm going to take this and become stronger than I've ever been, because I know that I'm headed somewhere. The enemy cannot attack me like this if I'm not going anywhere. Guys, I want you to be ready for this new season. And I want to, obviously, I am a reader of books, especially recently. I started reading books, not a lot, but I read books. I want to start reading books. I want to start reading a lot more books, So there's this book that I saw that I've been wanting. It's called The Defining Decade. It has a 20 sign on it. So it's when you turn 20, or when you are in your 20s, when you read this book, it basically is called The Defining Decade, because I think it positions you to define your 20th chapter. So I want to read this book so I can have a proper, definition of my 20s and head into the direction that I have to head into. Not just dependent on God. I have to depend on God, but also grow myself as a person, do a lot on my side so that God can assist me. So yes, I'm going to read this book, and I know that I'm going somewhere. One day I'll look back at this video and be like, I did it. And you guys are going to be there with me, and we will be like, yes, we actually did it. Turning 20 for me was not all gloomy and lovely. It was hot. I was on the ground. I was literally at the peak of my life, about to give up everything and about to even lose life on itself. I was about just to leave, wake up every day, sleep, wake up, sleep. Whereas God wanted me to grind. God has been waiting for me to turn 20 so I can be this woman that He plans on making me to become. So if you ever feel discouraged, if you ever feel like you having a sudden attack from the enemy, just know that you are going somewhere. And that's why he's doing that. Just know that you have to remain strong. See, remaining strong is not easy, but try to be consistent. Try to talk to God. Try to let Him reveal things to you. Try to be strong on your faith. Remain in your faith. Trust in God as much as you can and know that the enemy is under attack. He doesn't want to see you happy. He doesn't want to see you pursue all of those things, those dreams that you have, whether you're 30, 40, or whatever age. Just know that you are very much capable and the enemy knows it more than you do, darling. So that is it from me. And I just wanted to share this because other people might have probably gone through the same thing. Others will or might go through the same thing when they turn 20, or others might just be interested. Others are probably at their 30s, but might find this interesting because maybe when your timeline was to go through this thing that I'm going through when you turn 30 or 40 or 15. So you never know. Or others have already gone through it maybe when they turned to being teenagers or 15. But I had to go through it when I turned 20. These 2 decades was what defined this whole thing for me. Now I'm moving into a greater level of life and I'm going somewhere and I'm excited for it. Thank you for watching this. Ulungile wagwamsipha umntazana fika bangiyitshata ngesikhathi. Lungstamsipha is where we are at. Thank you.